Here I will show you the whole process of using NetBeans to build a C++ project. You open NetBeans IDE, you click File, New Project, and you choose C++ as the category, and here the project choose C++ application, choose Next, and here you choose the location of your project, and here you choose the name of your project. Suppose I call it constant exercise. Finish. Suppose we want to define an employee class, and here the main file is here, and you can see that they have already automatically generated a skeleton of the main file. And for header files, if you click header files here and you click new, right click it and click new, and you choose C++ header file, then you choose specify the file name, employee.h, for example. You click. Alright, so here NetBeans and IDE will automatically generate a block, comment block, and also automatically generate the block of if not defined, define, and if. So you should write class employee. We first define some data members. Data members often specified as protected sometimes. So protected is a process access specifier, which means that the data members and the member functions after protected, they cannot be accessed by the clients of this class, but they can be inherited and accessed by derived classes. Suppose here string and first name, string and last name, string and department name, assigned in, assigned short, and hiring year. Then we need to define some functions, and before we do that, we want to basically every time we type in a few lines, we want to ensure that our program can compile. And now suppose that we compile it, and there are two ways of compiling your project. This button is build your project incrementally, which means that when you click this, it will only compile the files that you just modified since the last time you built it, and also the files that depends on the files that you modified. They will only compile those affected by your modification. And this button will clean everything and rebuild everything from scratch. Now this we just click this, and it built successfully. Now let's take a look at the main CPP file, and we just generated this employee.h. But do you think that this one is compiled for what we typed in? Actually not, because in the main file we did not include it, right? So it is actually have not compiled it yet. So to do that, then we need to, in the main file, we need to include employee.h. Include employee.h. Now let's try to compile it again. Okay, you can see that it doesn't name a type, it doesn't recognize this string, so we should here include IO stream. Oh, here we should actually now here we should use using namespace ITD. Okay, this works now. And next we will define some member functions. First is the constructor. Constant string, first name, const string, last name. We specify them as constant parameters because we are not going to change them in this constructor. Name, sign short here. Then we perform the assignment. Here, if you press Control and space, it will automatically, the NetBeans will automatically pop up what are possible matches. So here is first name, equal to first name, and if you here, if you use automatic complete and control space, it will pop out several possible matches, right? So we can choose the one for last name to last name, department name, hard year, go to hard year. Now let's compile. There's an error. Because here we have a typo, employee. Okay, it works fine. Now we define some get functions. Basically get the values of the data members. So string get first name. This should be a constant function because it doesn't change any values of the data members. So return first name. So here we have defined 4 get functions and 4 set functions, and we can compile and take a look. It works fine. Now let's take a look at the main file. In the main file we can define some constants, for example. Define buffer size say 100, for example. We can define some functions. Assign int buffer. Void print buffer size pointer, for example, const int pointer. Out. This is the content of that this buffer size ptr point to. Now let's compile and see. Alright, it works fine right now. And we can have another function, Boolean function, higher earlier, const employee reference mp1, for example, and const mp2. Return emp1s, emp1s get. Here you can see that that means it will automatically give you some hint after you type in dot. Get her year. All right. Now let's compile. So every time we type in a few lines, we want to compile and to make sure it can compile. And here, say print buffer size pointer. Oh, before we do that, we want to define some const unsigned int buffer size equal to 100, for example, and here we want to use this address of buffer size as the parameter. Now let's take a look whether it can compile, and after you compile it successfully, then you click this button, will run the project. You can see print out 100, that's correct. And we can also generate define a constant variable, constant for example, John. Smith. Sales. Say 2010. Suppose it works fine, and we define another employee. Suppose we call it Alice Doe. This will be Alice, and this will be Doe. So she's also in this, and suppose it's 2016. Now let's take a look of compiling it again. Works fine. Then we can pass them to cout. And compare John Smith with Alex Doe for their hiring date. Works well for compiling, and you can see that the return of this hire order is 1, which is correct. Because John Smith is hired earlier than Alice Doe. Here we can try to invoke a constant member function on the constant object. For example, say John Smith dot get first name, for example, get first name. We can print this out. Out. Let's compile. It works, and then we can run it. It does print out John, which is correct.